In this video, I'm going to give you my top 5 tips for organizing design files in Figma, Sketch, Adobe XD, or any similar UX UI focused design program. This is going to be basic for those who aren't new to industry standard UX and UI focused design programs. I feel like this topic is important for digital designers because taking a little extra time at the beginning of a project to organize and trust a more disciplined design process will save a lot of time in the long run. My first tip is to name your artboards based on the sitemap and the platform you're designing for, if possible. For example, if you're designing for desktop and you're working on the login page that happens to be listed as page 0.1 in your sitemap, name the artboard Desktop 0.1 Login. If there are multiple states of that page, then add a letter to the end of the page number. For example, a login page will have both a default state and an active state that you'll need to illustrate in your designs. If you don't have a sitemap or you don't want to name your artboards based on a sitemap, be sure to apply some sort of numbering system to your artboards. This will ensure you export your artboards in the proper order before you export them to a PDF or whatever type of file you'll use to present your designs. My second tip is about naming your files, and I would suggest a naming convention that goes in the following order: client name, project name, deliverable, edit year, edit month, edit day, version number, and if necessary, your initials. Separate words using either underlines or dashes. I prefer underlines, and I also prefer the date to be a single string of numbers. So if you are a lucky designer working on a redesign of Gmail and you are creating wireframes, the naming convention would look something like this: Google_Gmail_wireframes_2021-1022_V01_RS for my initials, and this is assuming the file is saved on October 22nd, 2021. Oh, and of course dot whatever extension it is. Of course that will depend on whatever design program you're using. If you're working on wireframes for a specific platform, like mobile, you can add the word mobile either before or after the word wireframes. My next tip is to use components. For those who are not familiar with components, components allow you to create a single parent instance of an element that when updated, those updates automatically apply to all of the copies of that parent. This is especially useful if you're designing an app or website with elements that appear on many different pages. The best example is the main navigation of an app or website. On this Marvel project, I have a nav section that appears on many different pages. If I have to add a link to the nav, I don't want to have to add the link individually to each and every page, especially on an app with dozens or even hundreds of pages. Instead, I'd rather select the component, or in this case the symbol, because in Sketch components are called symbols, and within this symbol, I can add the new link. And there we go. The new link applies everywhere that I use this nav section as a symbol or a component. My next tip is to create a design system. Now, a design system establishes a set of constraints that streamline the design process while ensuring that the design language stays consistent throughout the app or website, or whatever project you're working on. While you don't need to create a fancy design system document for every project, it helps to create an extra artboard you could use as a place to dump commonly used elements such as fonts, buttons, and colors that you can copy and paste onto your artboards when needed. And my final tip is about exporting and saving. For each project, I suggest creating at least 2 different folders. One is an export folder to separate exported images from project files. The other is an archive folder to separate the latest files from outdated versions. Come to think of it, you're going to almost certainly need an images folder unless the project you're working on doesn't have any photography. But I don't have any concluding thoughts. I hope this will save you some time and pain in the long run.